So we now have GitHub up and running. We can create new repositories straight in here. I'm going to go to github.com and create one there, and then we'll clone it through GitHub Desktop. So I'll just go to github.com. On my account, I'm going to create a new repository, and we'll just call this, I'm going to make an example Unity one. You can choose it to be public or private. So public, anyone can see, they can download, but they can't make changes. But I'm just going to make this private. I'm going to add a .gitignore and a readme. So readme lets us add some instructions, and my GitHub gitignore template tells us what files we want to ignore and not send to GitHub. In particular, when we're working in Unity, we want to make sure this is enabled. So we're just going to scroll down to Unity. Check that. We can choose a license if we want to. Otherwise, we're just going to hit create repository. Really important for this gitignore is because Unity creates a whole bunch of files that we don't want to upload, and it can change our project folder size from being, only a few hundred kilobytes or a megabyte to being hundreds if we don't ignore these files. So we've got a project. We can go and use our Markdown and go and edit these details. So I can edit this straight in the GitHub Online. But why we're going to use the desktop is I'm now going to go and clone that repository, which means basically make a copy of it. I have going to choose a folder. It's really important you don't put this into a folder that is going to be synced up with OneDrive or iCloud automatically. It will break a lot of projects, particularly Unity ones, will not work. So what I have, so a good location is to either go onto your PC, often C drive, users, find your user account, and then create a new folder in there called GitHub, and save them in that location. I actually have a whole separate hard drive for work, so I'm just going to save it in E drive, and I've got a GitHub folder here, and I'm just going to tell it to go into that folder. So you can see E drive GitHub, and I'm going to find which repository. I've got my Unity example, and I can see which folder it's going to go into. And I am just going to clone this. Okay, and we can see on our history all these changes. So initially there was nothing, just added the readme file and the gitignore, and we can see we've modified that. We can see our initial commit, what's in the gitignore. It's going to skip all of those folders. Which makes it really useful. So if I've got Visual Studio Code installed, we can just click Open Visual Studio Code, or I can click Show in Explorer, which will just open up that folder.